When did your family's precious victim finally trip over their own lie? My stepbrother Corbin spent years reminding everyone he'd survived a brutal childhood before my dad married his mom, and for the most part he wore it like armor, bragging that nothing could touch him. That lasted right up until the day he noticed my birthday gift cost $20 more than his. Suddenly, he was a fragile trauma survivor whose old wounds got ripped open by unfairness. It spiraled fast. When my little cousin got a keyboard for her birthday, Corbin snapped the sustain pedal in half because he never got music lessons. He told my aunt to stop spoiling her kids and demanded our parents pay him back for the childhood he never had with healing money every month. And when I bought myself a decent gaming laptop with money from my part-time job, he called it a cruel flex designed to make him feel worthless. I tried to be reasonable. I offered to let him use it. I even offered to buy him his own cheap one. He refused. On his request, my parents ruled I could only use the laptop when Corbin wasn't in the common areas. I started using headphones. Not enough. Corbin said just knowing the laptop existed made the house unsafe for him. Within a week, it was banished to my bedroom. That held for 2 days. Then I came home to my stepmom cradling him on the hallway floor, sobbing. When he saw me, he shrank back like I'd hit him. 20 minutes later, he explained he'd glimpsed the glowing screen through my cracked door, and it reminded him of everything he'd been denied. My stepmom took his side completely, looking at me like I'd personally caused his hard childhood. New rules, immediate. Laptop use only after 10 p.m. when Corbin was in his room. Screen brightness at minimum so no light leaked under my door. When I protested, my dad said, "He's been through things you can't imagine. Is a video game worth his recovery?" They made me the villain. So for weeks, I followed every rule. Then Corbin started building a case. Photos of light under my door. Logs of when he heard my keyboard through the wall, claiming each one dragged him back to his childhood. Eventually, my parents gave me a choice. Get rid of the laptop or move it to the freezing, half-flooded basement. I chose the basement. Cold, damp, one working outlet, but at least down there I could exist. That lasted until Corbin failed a class. He'd actually been skipping to hang out with older kids and get high, but somehow it was my fault. He told our parents he could feel the laptop's energy through the floor while he studied, but nobly said nothing. They treated him like a saint. The laptop got moved to the detached shed out back, full of rusted tools and mouse droppings, where I spent my weekends because using it on weekdays was now banned too. It stayed that way for 3 months. Nobody complained. Then Corbin needed something from the shed, walked in, and had a full-body trauma collapse on the spot. That was the last straw for my parents. The only solution they decided was to sell the laptop entirely. He can use the library computers, Corbin said, all gentle martyrdom. That's what poor kids do. My stepmom nodded and started pulling up resale listings. That's when I snapped. Stop! Corbin immediately crumbled. I'm sorry I grew up with nothing, okay? It's my fault. I'm damaged. I ruin everything. And my stepmom was already wrapping him in a hug, glaring at me. You want to see what your precious survivor actually does? I pulled out my phone. Corbin went rigid. 4 weeks earlier, after my charger kept disappearing, I'd tucked a small camera on the shed shelf. I connected my phone to the living room TV. There was Corbin, unlocking the shed with a key he'd supposedly never had, letting neighborhood kids in, collecting cash. I'd found out he was charging them $10 an hour to use my laptop while our parents were at their weekend volunteering. My stepmom's mouth fell open. Then I swiped to the screenshots I'd pulled, his texts to a friend. LOL, my foster parents will believe anything if I cry. Selling his laptop this week, gonna pocket it. My dad stepped toward the screen. Corbin, explain this. And isn't it funny, I said, that the exact week those kids told him they couldn't pay anymore is the week he suddenly needed the laptop gone for good? The room went dead silent. Corbin's face crumpled, real tears this time. My stepmom's hand was still frozen on her phone, the resale listing glowing on the screen. For the first time in 3 months, nobody was looking at me like I was the problem.